Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the Doc of Detox show. Today's show is juicing from A to Z. But what does that really mean? Well, it means juicing from arthritis to cancer. Understand something, that everything starts off as just a light little symptom, because that's all any disease is a symptom. It's just a symptom, from a sneeze to cancer. Guess what? They're the same things. It's just that one was let go and fueled toxins to the point that you got yourself in trouble. So today I am so honored to have with me Cherie Calbom, and she is the juice lady. And if you want to know about juicing, then you're going to want to hang around for this show. Okay, so now let's begin the show. Cherie Calbom is a leading authority on juicing for health and detoxification. She's known as the Juice Lady, TV chef, and celebrity nutritionalist. She has helped in pioneering the fresh juice movement around the world, and thank God for that. That's all I can say. Welcome to the show, Cherie. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. It's great. I'm doing great. It's great to be back. Good to see you again, and good to talk about my favorite subject, juicing.
So, thank you. And before we start, I would like to say something, and then I'd like you to jump in, Cherie. But I think that the only reason why we're an inflammation nation, the only reason why, okay, right now they state that 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease. I mean, think about it. That means 8 out of 10 people aren't walking around limping on some level, okay? Now, here's the situation, and I think Cherie will agree to this, is that the further we get away from nature, the more in trouble we've gotten. So the more that we've embraced mankind and mankind's rules, okay, and not gone with universal law or nature's law, we've gotten ourselves into big trouble. You know, the rules that kept people well over 100 years ago are the same rules that will keep people well today. But the only problem is nobody's promoting those rules, and the corporations that are doing most of the farming, we call it factory farming, and we don't have the juice lady on TV giving us a commercial telling us that we should go and juice and what juices to do to detox. We've got pharmacies coming on there, pharmaceutical companies, to be exact, telling us about how taking toxic drugs to telling our body to shut down and be quiet. And you see where that's gotten us. So what we need to really do is we need to go back in time. We got to go back over 100 years ago, maybe 150 years ago, to where people were and see how they were living and bring that back into today. And one of the biggest things you're ever going to do is when you take Mother Nature and you juice her. When you juice Mother Nature and you put it into a concentrate, you're taking in the most powerful detox healing elixirs in the world. And like I said, today with me is Cherie Calbom, and take it away, Cherie.
Wow, you said so much I agree with. I say a big amen. Inflammation is at the root of A to Z, right? Of any condition we can mention. And we'll mention a lot of them today and what to do about them, but inflammation's at the root of that. And years ago, people used to ask me, what do I do about this, that, and the other thing? Arthritis, pain, eczema, psoriasis, migraines, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, on and on it went. And of course, there are specific juices for that. And I would always say, you've got to eat the anti-inflammation diet. And of course, they would say, what's that? So I finally wrote a book on that called The Anti-Inflammation Diet. I'll talk more about that later. But what is causing all of this inflammation? What are inflammatory foods? And I've got a whole list of them in my book. But all of the junk food, fast food, preserved foods, pesticide sprayed foods, the gluten, and dairy, because it's treated so badly right now, and sugar. Sugar is at the top of the list of inflammatory causing substances. And alcohol, coffee are on the list to some degree because they're very acidic in their breakdown. What are your anti-inflammatory foods? That's what we eat and drink so little of. Your fresh vegetable juices, your fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, raw foods, some of the ancient grains. I'm not talking about the current ones because they mess them up so badly. And if you eat protein, it would be clean animal protein, not full of hormones, antibiotics, and so forth. What has gotten us into all this trouble, just what you said, our bad lifestyle. From all of the bad foods we eat, to the stress, to the toxic thoughts, and lack of exercise, and our sedentary lifestyles. But what can we change right away, immediately? We can start juicing, and we
Ab-
can start doing right.
Absolutely. But, and also I want everybody to know when Cherie was saying our bad lifestyles, understand something. None of you are bad, okay? You just got bad beliefs, and those beliefs were programmed into you, and they're programmed into you if you listen to the radio, watch TV. Oh, wait a minute, if you even listen to your friends and your family, because they're all saying the same thing, the latest, greatest, newest, boom, okay? So understand that. And I'll tell you right now, today I did a one-a-day today, and I was talking about in the one-a-day where I had a mother come on, and her daughter, she actually slept with her cell phone, okay, under her pillow. And she did it for about 3 years, and then she grew a tumor on the side of her head. They cut that out, and guess what? Surgery causes more scar tissue, so now she's got all the scar tissue here. And you know what, Cherie? Do you know exactly what I said? I said, you've got to get her juicing. And she says she's in the hospital right now, and say, well, you've got to get the juices into her because you know what they're putting into her. So understand something here, everyone. Do not bear any guilt about your size, your sickness, the way you feel. But understand something. God gave you a body, and you're going to have to take massive personal action, and you're going to have to understand something. And this is why I like to have my own show, because I can say this. You cannot trust mankind. You cannot trust anybody out there. And understand this also. I'm talking about natural health practitioners, medical practitioners. You challenge them with everything they say, because it's your body. And understand, there's a lot of natural health practitioners out there I would never go to. Okay? So understand, you can't give what you're not. And there's a lot of health practitioners that they don't even know how to get themselves healthy on a physical and emotional level. And I'll tell you something right now, that what Cherie's going to be sharing with you, it's not going to cost you anything, but it's worth everything. Cherie, can you take it away?
I love that. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. And there is no condemnation. I thank you for saying that. Because what do we do when we realize that we didn't make some wise choices and we've got ourselves backed up in a corner? I always say, never, ever, ever give up. If there was a title for my life story, it would be that: never give up. As long as we're breathing, there's hope, and there can be change. And our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made, and they are made to heal, to rejuvenate, to restore, and pick yourself up and get back in the race, as the old saying goes, because we can. And this is a new day, and we can make a new choice. And each day we are choosing life or we are choosing death, right? By the things that we do, one or the other. And I say choose life with every sip you take, with every breath you take, and with everything that you think. Choose life. And we're talking about live foods, live juices that just pour liquid life right into your body. And so many people have said to me, this was so life changing, because right away I started feeling better. I mean, you could feel that life coming into the body and feel like your cells are perking up. Your mind is perking up. You've got a little more energy than you had before. And yeah, you may get some detox symptoms, but you're going in the right direction. And we are the master of our ship. I'm so glad you say that over and over again. It's our choice. And so many people say to me, like, they're terrified that their doctor is going to tell them they have to do this. And I say, you can say no. You don't have to take that drug. You don't have to do that. If you don't want to, you are the master of your ship, so you can decide what you want to do. And one thing you can do right away is change what you drink and change what you eat. That is really being the master of your ship.
Yeah, the truest terrorism is in our own society. It's in our own what we call healthcare that has nothing to do with healthcare. Understand something, the medical system should be used for what they're good at, and that's emergency care. There's nobody better, but understand you will always be in an emergency if you don't listen to what Cherie's about to tell you, because if you're not pouring wholeness, goodness into your body and telling your body that you love it, you're going to be like a Visa card where you never made any payments, okay? And then the bank's going to want to cut that card in half, and that would be, now you're an emergency. So let's not even go there, and understand something. We all have a choice, but we don't. So I want to make that really clear. You have not been given a choice, because you were taught by your parents who thought they were doing best by you, but they didn't do best by you. And that's called the family curse. And understand, we want to break that curse today. And remember this, that if you could totally learn how to love, honor, respect, and protect your body, you could do that and break the family curse and teach the rest of the family. You need to become the light for them. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're here to do. Cherie's going to teach you how to pour that light in.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to teach you about that. And I'm so glad you talked about symptoms, because we're going to talk about a lot of these symptoms from A to Z. Like, what if you get acne? Or what if you get arthritis? Or what if you have anxiety or a headache or eczema or psoriasis? Your body is screaming at you, and it screams at us all the time if something's off. It talks to us. But so often we can't hear it, because everything's garbled. We've got toxins, we've got congestion, we don't know the message it's sending us. But if your body is sending you any message today, whether it be pain, insomnia, a headache, anxiety, fatigue, whatever is going on, it's saying, I need help. It's talking to us, and we've got to respond to its message. It's saying something's wrong, you need to change something, you need to do something different, but not mask the pain, not just shove it to the side and try to, as you said, Darrell, try to stuff the message down with a drug. We've got to listen and help it to heal.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, everyone, is that, making decisions and making great decisions that honor your body. Because I know a lot of you won't believe this, but guess what? Your diet actually creates your reality and your personality. So, you know what? Why is he grumpy? Okay. Why is he miserable? Why is she depressed? Why are they angry? Why are the kids having a tantrum? Why are the kids ADD? Why are the kids ADHD? Well, okay, just understand something, that, when your doctor says diet has nothing to do with it, okay, he has told you the biggest lie. And I am amazed that they even get away with this, because understand, we have to honor our bodies and what we put in them. So most conditions that people suffer from have an inflammation component to them. Which juices are the best things for anti-inflammatory conditions?
There's so many that have been studied, but let me just turn to some that are just the top ones on the list. Turmeric, for one thing, is one of the best anti-inflammatories we could have. And you can find fresh turmeric and juice it. If you can't, you can put powder turmeric or curcumin in your juices. Asparagus, carrot, celery, fennel, kale. Kale is and spinach, especially helpful for the digestive tract. Berries and beets, all wonderful anti-inflammatory juices. They're all great, though. Whatever juice you use.
What would you give somebody for juicing if they had, let's say, arthritis? Let's go through a few different ones, okay? Let's say arthritis.
So for arthritis, you want anti-inflammatory like ginger root, first of all, and turmeric, and you can juice those, and lemon, and make an immune, I call it immune booster shot of a chunk of ginger root, a chunk of turmeric, and a half to a whole lemon, and add some water, and add a sweetener, a healthy sweetener like stevia or monk fruit, or a little bit of honey, and that is fabulous. And black cherries are great for pain, especially gout type pain, but black tart cherries have been used many times for pain and for inflammation. And eating the anti-inflammatory diet along with these juices. And then celery juice. Gosh, I just can't say enough about starting your morning with fresh celery juice, because so many people have told me since they started the morning with about 16 ounces of fresh celery juice in the morning, their pain has lessened, their inflammation has lessened, and all these other amazing things have happened for them.
How much celery would I buy to make 16 ounces of celery juice?
You need a lot of celery. It's usually about 2 bunches.
Oh,
It
okay.
depends, yeah, how big those bunches are. But I've been juicing celery for my husband and I in the morning, first thing, and drinking just fresh, plain celery on an empty stomach. And it really, really does make a difference. I just want to take a little side and tell my own personal story about that. We had some disasters in our home, house repairs needed. I had a lot of stuff going on, and then the holiday season came, and I didn't juice celery as much as I had been, and then I ate some things I normally don't eat, and I noticed the inflammation in my own body, pain. I would go to my exercise classes, and it was like, wow, this is really hard, and this hurts. And I got back on the celery several weeks ago, and it was like, whoa, the pain is all gone. The exercise class is easy. I lost some water weight, and I could tell the inflammation was dissipating. But whatever is going on in your life, get celery and get a couple bunches per person. Seed your juicer with something besides celery to start off with, because it's very stringy and it can clump up if you have a centrifugal type juicer. If you have a masticating, you don't have to worry about this. But I like to seed it, because I have a centrifugal, with a little bit of cucumber first, just to kind of get a juicy coating around that blade, and then go for your celery. And 2 bunches will make about 16 ounces per person.
Beautiful. So we know that about 95% of all illnesses come from the large intestine, right from constipation to cancer. So, what would you tell someone for juicing if they were constipated? And understand something before everybody is that constipation means that not everything comes out. Constipation does not mean impaction where you don't go to the washroom. Constipation means when you start going and you start grunting in the morning, or it feels like there's just a little bit more that could have come out, or you actually are the type of family that you've got a bunch of magazines sitting in the bathroom, well, then we know that you've got cork in there like you're a wine bottle. So why don't you tell us what would be best? And what about the difference between diarrhea? Would they do any juicing, and to constipation, or any of the other bowel illnesses? Is there any specific ones?
Yes, so let's go through all of this and start with constipation, because it's a big problem in America. And a lot of people have dry stools, meaning they're not getting enough moisture into that intestinal tract to keep everything flowing and moving. And so juicing, for some people, just juicing alone has changed all that. They've told me, wow, started juicing and I just became regular and I don't have any of the symptoms that you just named. Um, Carrot, celery, cucumber, dark leafy greens, ginger, great anti-inflammatory. If there's inflammation going on in the intestinal tract, great for that. Lemon, a wonderful natural diuretic. All of those make great juices. You can add some apple. Green apple is your lower sugar of the apples if you want to keep the sugar low. And all of that is very helpful for the intestinal tract. If that's still not getting you where you want to be, make sure you're getting all the water you need, because we need at least 64 ounces. Some of the current experts say take your weight, divide it in half, and those are the number of ounces you need per day. For my husband, 90 ounces a day is a lot of water, but juice can count in there too. If that's still not getting you where you need to go, consider exercise. You may need more movement. Black sesame seeds are very, very helpful for a dry stool. So grind those up. You can sprinkle those on top of your juice if you wish to do that. And that can be very helpful to bring more moisture and for a dry stool. And magnesium is very, very helpful. Your dark leafy greens are very rich in magnesium. If that is still not getting you where you need to be, an additional magnesium citrate supplement may help you for a while to get over the top and get where you want to be. And so all of these things can begin to change the dry stool, the constipation. Make sure you have a high fiber diet as well, because fiber is very, very important also to keep that colon moving. And then we wanted to talk about diarrhea. Juicing has helped a number of people who've come to me that have suffered from diarrhea. If that's not getting you where you want to be, you may need to consider a parasite cleanse, because I've worked with many people that have had parasites, and that has been contributing to their diarrhea. So in my 30-day detox, week 2 is liver cleanse and parasite cleanse. And that can be extremely helpful, both in constipation and diarrhea. And some people have alternate bouts with each. I also wanted to go back 1 second and talk about omega-3 fatty acids regarding colon, because fish oil can be very helpful for your colon as well. So I like Nordic Naturals. Make sure you get a really good one. And back to diarrhea, juicing and the parasite cleanse have been very, very helpful for people oftentimes that suffer with diarrhea. But also make sure you're not eating things that your body is sensitive to, allergic to, because that can cause diarrhea as well. And then how about those bowel inflammatory conditions, from irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, any kind of ulcerative colitis? You want to begin to cleanse your colon gently. Some of these conditions I just named, people are so now inflamed and bad off that they can't even have the fiber. So where do you start? What do you do? Juice. You start with your vegetable juices, which are so healing, and you get it, your anti-inflammatory juices. If you can find turmeric root in your area to juice, it's fabulous. Ginger root is fabulous. I like to do big chunks in my juice of ginger root every single day because it's such a fabulous anti-inflammatory. But you want to begin to gently cleanse that colon. And if you have some kind of inflammation situation going on, I recommend periodic juice fasts. Give your whole colon a break. I mean, give your whole body a break, and the juices are broken down so completely. They're like a pre-digested food. They're going right into your system. Your body can absorb them easily, and it doesn't have to work hard to break them down. And it begins to bring those healing nutrients to your colon. Carrot juice is very healing for the colon. The carotenoids, and of course your dark leafy greens are also rich in carotenoids. If you have any ulcerative type condition going on, cabbage juice, proven in scientific studies. A study way back into the 50s proved that cabbage juice healed ulcers, stomach ulcers, and I would say let's go on to the intestinal tract ulcerative conditions. I like to combine equal amounts of carrot, cabbage, and celery. And to me, it has a delicious taste. It tastes kind of nutty with equal amounts of those, and so healing for your whole digestive system.
Beautiful. And I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but Dr. Darrell Pollack, he talks about, he's known as the father of water, and he talks about fourth phase water, which is structured water. And we talk about how we want to drink structured water. That's why the rain, if you want to know about structured water, the rainwater is structured water. So even though it might have heavy metals or chemicals in it, it doesn't bother any living organisms because it's structured. Isn't that something? That's the protection that we were given by that created the universe. But what I'm getting at is all vegetable juicing and it's all structured already, isn't it? It's got no surface tension, so it's able to go directly into your cells without any energy, any effort from the body. Cherie, would you like to talk about that?
I love talking about that because right at the top of my list for today is how do you heal your body at the cellular level? And this is how you begin healing it at the cellular level. That's where it all starts and that's where it all ends. And yes, as we get that beautiful structured water that's replete with vitamins, minerals, enzymes, phytonutrients, biophotons into our cells, we begin to heal. And it is amazing the work that the juices can do when we get them into our cells. And the cells are just waiting to take up something that's going to really make a difference in the body, and it knows when these beautiful juices come in. And if you look online and you look at Kirlian photography, look it up, starts with a K. Kirlian photography, it's special photography that photographs the light rays of energy coming out of raw foods. Beautiful colors. You'll see all sorts of things from cabbage to apples to bananas, you name it, and beautiful different colored light rays of energy. And then usually they'll have a picture of something cooked right beside it, the raw cabbage and the cooked cabbage. The cooked, now the colors are gone, the beautiful colors, those beautiful light rays of energy are gone, and you just have little bits of rays, little rays. So we want those beautiful light rays of energy coming into our cells, which will help them to become beautiful, radiating energy cells. And that's how our juices are going to begin to change us one cell at a time throughout our bodies.
Beautiful. And if we take a look at the two top things that create illness and even death are cancer and heart disease. And what's the biggest problem when somebody has heart disease and they have cancer is they have no energy. So it would only be logical that why wouldn't you want a super concentrated nature's food that's so nourishing to the cells to come in, and it would take no energy. So that's it. So you need to put the body on a holiday, but get it nutrition and deliver that nutrition right away like stat. What do you think, Cherie?
Oh, yes, absolutely. When anybody comes to me, well, I have a program for cancer, What to Eat and Juice. It's an online program, What to Eat and Juice for Cancer. The first thing I always say is no matter what else you're doing, no matter what other treatments you have chosen, get on juicing. Get started juicing right away, because this is going to be life-changing for you. It's something you can do immediately. It's something that will begin to change you at your cellular level. And I want to talk for a moment about different juices for cancer, since I'm addressing that right now. And celery juice, I keep coming back to celery juice, but it is an amazing juice for cancer as well as so many other conditions. It has 8, I call them superhero phytonutrients, and 2 of them in there are apigenin and luteolin, which fight free radicals. Apigenin has been proven in numerous scientific studies to halt angiogenesis, which means it cuts off those blood vessels, that gravy train to your tumor, that gravy train to cancer cells. It cuts off the blood supply and begins to heal your body in that aspect. And then camphorol is another one of those superhero phytonutrients in celery. And let me just read some of the things it does. It's been shown to lower blood pressure, improve gut health, decrease inflammation, build up your energy. You'll feel calmer and you'll sleep better. Who could ask for more, right? But celery is just one of those wonder juices. And then greens for cancer. There are numerous studies on kale and watercress, 2 of your top vegetables for healing cancer, and juice those a lot. Watercress is your quintessential cruciferous vegetable. It got a score of 100 from the CDC as being the top vegetable. Turmeric. There are over 6,000 studies on turmeric and its anti-inflammatory properties, its cancer healing properties. Carrots and carrot juice. Dr. Max Gerson's program focused hugely on carrot juice and healing cancer. with those carotenes that bind the toxins. And then wheatgrass juice. Oh my goodness, if you can get wheatgrass juice, go to a juice bar if they'll do it for you, grow it yourself and get a masticating juicer and make your own. Or if you can't do any of that, get sweet wheat juice, wheatgrass juice powder. I've got that on my website, but get wheatgrass into your diet. Wheatgrass is amazing, amazing. And then boost up your immune system. No matter what you've got going, you need to boost your immune system, whether it's cancer or any of the other conditions we've talked about or will mention. You need a strong immune system. If you've got an autoimmune condition, you need to build up your immune system. And I have an immune booster shot. It's 1 chunk of ginger root, 1 chunk of turmeric, and a juice of 1 lemon and some water and sweetener, and you know the drill. It's a healthy sweetener, a little honey or a little stevia or monk fruit.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And you know what? When we're talking about cancer, everyone, there's so many people out there that are caretakers. They love their parents. They love their children. And when somebody comes down with cancer, and especially when they're not at home and you're not in charge, because once they're in the hospital, you're not in charge. Okay? They are. But there's one thing that you can do that they can't tell you cannot do, and that's to bring them in a non-inflammatory diet, okay? And the other thing is juicing. You want to get as much juice into them as possible. Remember something. The hospital is the sickest building in your city. So understand something. If they're not feeding them well, which chances, give me a hospital that is, okay? We all know that the food is terrible. And guess what? I'm just going to say it like it is. And I'm always going to say it like it is from now on, no matter what anybody thinks, because the reality is that people need to have a choice, and they don't have a choice. Now, there's one of the places you don't have a choice, but you do have a choice as a caretaker or a loved one to bring in fresh juices. So you want to check out all the different juices, and let's talk about some of the other juices that we could make that taste good, Cherie, that cancer patient that never juiced before, that we're not going to give them something like beet juice and ginger, and they're just going to go, yuck, because we've got to be able to get somebody juicing and loving the taste of the juice, and then have the effects of the high vibrational foods flowing through their body. So maybe you could tell us some of the juices that we could take to someone who's in hospice, or somebody that's in the hospital, or just being able to do it at home for them.
Yes, so I have lots of juices that do taste great. Adding apple makes a huge difference. It can make all the difference in the world. So I like to start with a good base for somebody, especially that hasn't juiced, or somebody that just says my taste buds can't handle too much of this vegetable, the greens or whatever. Start with a base of carrot apple. Carrot apple is really delicious, and I haven't found anybody that so far that hasn't liked that. You can do carrot apple ginger, and that's my ginger hopper recipe it's in several of my books. To that, then you can begin to add other things. And if you don't get too much, and if you get a recipe, I'll tell you how much of different things. You can start adding greens, like a little kale or a little watercress or a little bit of chard, and some fennel. Fennel mixes well and is not overpowering. Cucumber mixes very well. If you don't want carrot in there, you can do a cucumber apple and lemon, and that is pretty delicious as a nice base. Cucumber gives you a lot of water, so it's encouraging, because all of a sudden you see, oh, I've got quite a bit of juice here. I don't have to stand here all day and juice this. Celery, I'm talking about, I've talked a lot about plain celery juice on an empty stomach in the morning. If somebody has never juiced before, they're probably not going to drink that. And I'll tell you, every morning, even to this day, when I drink it, I go, whoa, this is celery. It's not my favorite thing. I just down it. but I know what it's going to do. But people that don't, you're probably going to have to add some apple. And that's my Waldorf salad recipe. So celery and apple is really quite yummy. And you can do other things. I have an icy, spicy gazpacho, I call it, which has a little bit of frozen tomato chunks and some carrot lemon juice, excuse me. And I put that in a blender, and I add a handful of cilantro and a pinch of cayenne pepper and blend that up. And I'll tell you, it is so delicious. I'd serve that for people who've never had a juice before in their life. It's like a little cocktail when they've come to dinner, and everybody always says, wow, what is this? That is really yummy. But you know what that cilantro is doing? Cilantro is helping to detox heavy metals. And it's been shown in studies to help detox mercury and aluminum. So having some cilantro in there where it isn't overpowering or overbearing to the taste makes a delicious recipe. You can give somebody beet, but somebody who hasn't juiced or somebody who just doesn't like beets, a lot of people don't. A lot of people say, wow, those beets taste like dirt. They have a very earthy taste. So beet, apple, and lemon is really quite nice. And then to that, you can begin to add other things. And like I said, if you don't get too much in the way of greens or too much ginger, turmeric, I've never had it overpower anything in flavor, but it'll be pretty delicious.
Thank you. Let's talk about what's become an epidemic because people don't realize they do have a choice, and that is diabetes. Okay, so there's a lot of people that are getting adult onset diabetes, which is just where they've blown their bodies out from way too much sugar. And the thing is that you really need to understand, people, you cannot buy anything from a grocery store without reading it anymore. Even when it says it's organic, you're going to find a lot of sugar in there. You're going to find a lot of fructose in there. We're blowing our bodies apart. But what can a diabetic do for juicing?
Wonderful juices for the pancreas. Green bean juice is excellent for the pancreas. And of course, alone, that is not going to taste good. But if you combine it with like cucumber and celery, little apple, for you, I would choose green apple. And not a lot of it, but maybe a quarter to a half an apple. You can put some lemon in there and some ginger root. And that is a wonderful juice for diabetics. So many diabetics have come to me and said that even their naturopath told them they could not juice because of the sugars. Look, there aren't sugars to speak of in your greens, in the celery, the cucumber, zucchini, you get a lot of juice out of. Lemon, no sugar. And ginger root is excellent. Green beans are excellent. And green apple is quite low in sugar. Berries are very low in sugar. You can add the berries in there to improve the flavor. I've worked with many, many, many diabetics who have been able to control their diabetes with diet and the juicing and changing their diet to the point where they haven't needed any more medication. They've been able to definitely control through what they eat and what they juice. And I've even had a few type 1 diabetics that were able to get off of all medication where people have said, oh no, that will never happen. That cannot be done. But I've worked with some who off of all medications and control through diet. So what you said is so true. You have to look at every label and get all sugar out of your diet because it is just demolishing our bodies around the world now. It isn't just the Western world, it's going all over the world, demolishing the pancreas, the whole body. And my pet peeve now is health food store products that have organic cane sugar, as though that is supposed to be fine, no problem. And I always say my husband and I get mad about it. It's like our favorite product we used to get. Now they've switched out like a natural sweetener, like organic brown rice syrup, and now it's organic cane sugar. Look, this is sugar, unsprayed sugar, and it is not a health food product any longer. So even at your health food stores, and just as you said with your organic products, you've got to go in with detective work, and you almost have to shop with a magnifying glass, because now they're putting sugar in teeny tiny print where you can't even hardly see it, and I've noticed now lots of labels are going with white print on a light colored label. They're knowing that you're getting smart about reading this stuff, so they're getting smart too, and it's harder and harder and harder to read what's in that product. But we must do that, because they've slipped the sugar into everything. And you know why they're doing that? First of all, it's a very cheap filler. It's cheap to put in. Secondly, it addicts you, because sugar has been proven in so many studies, I've lost count, to be as addictive as cocaine and heroin, proven in studies. And then people love the taste of sweet. So, and we're now, our taste buds are kind of wrecked. We need more and more sweet to taste the sweet, right? It used to be that people could really taste the sweet from a berry, or, an apple. And now people hardly taste the sweet at all. So, sweeter and sweeter, everything gets sweeter. They want to addict you. They want you to come back to their product. And so we've got to read labels. But as we get that sugar out of the diet, as you do, you can control your blood sugar. And I just guarantee you, your life is going to change. You won't have to be stuck with that roller coaster, up and down of sugar, blood sugar. We had a gentleman that came to our retreat last summer, was a diabetic, and every day on our program he was testing, and watched his blood sugar count go down and down and down until we got to the last day of the retreat. And he said, I think maybe I can actually control this with my diet alone. And I said, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, you can.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I truly believe that if your diet is not based on 80% whole plant-based foods, then you're a drug addict, and that's it, and I can prove it. So that means that only 20% of your food can be processed or animal products. And if they are animal products, you better really hope that they're free range, grass fed, and you better hope that the weight volume, the major part of the weight volume, like 80% of the weight volume of your diet, is based on whole plant based foods and juicing again. These are the rules. I didn't make them up. They're nature's rules. We're from nature. We are not synthetic. We are not chemical. So when you're done bringing all that chemical and all that drug into the house, I don't care whether you're buying cookies or donuts or crackers, or there's no such thing as a natural health cracker bought from the store. You can go to a health food store today, and at health food store, I guarantee you that at least 70 to 80% of the products in there are unhealthy for you. You go to a grocery store and you're looking at about 10%, 8% of the products that are healthy for you. And then we're back again to the old vegetables and the juicing and eating a whole plant-based diet. What do you think, Cherie?
Oh, that's absolutely, it's right on target. I prove it over and over again in my own body, and in our household, and with the people I work with. So yes, we need those plants, and um, those that are really doing truthful studies are raising and raising the bar on how many servings of vegetables we need per day. 7, 8, 9, 10. It's not the 5 fruits and vegetables that we've been told. And how in the world do you get that? People say that to me all the time. You're on the busy, fast train of life. You're flying out the door in the morning, just hoping that you're not going to be late for work by hitting a traffic jam or something. And you're working hard all day, and you barely take a lunch break. I've heard this from so many people. And then you come home at night and you're exhausted, and you just want to grab the first thing you can find to start eating because you're so hungry. And that's often for people something like chips or crackers or a cookie or whatever. And yikes, your body is on a roller coaster, up and down all day long. So how do we begin to turn that around? And I've worked with so many busy moms, busy people who have high powered jobs or just fast paced lives. You start juicing, and you can actually freeze juice too. It will freeze, and it will freeze well. And if that's the only thing you can do, make up a bunch of juice on the weekends and freeze in little individual canning jars, and then start pulling them out like the night before for you and your family, you and your children. So many moms have told me, I got the whole family on juice, and gosh, my kids didn't get sick this winter. We didn't have the bronchitis and the flus and the colds that we did last year. So you can start making it work, and taking, if you have no healthy organic restaurants around where you work, take your lunch and start making wonderful healthy salads. I had a friend who had a long hours of commute and job, but after she got home and had her dinner, she would make her salad, and get it all ready for the next day, make her smoothie for the morning, her green smoothie and her juice, so that she had it when she got up in the morning. We can get a healthy lifestyle incorporated. We can make some things on the weekends and freeze them so we can pull them out like a healthy soup. You can pull out of the freezer and thaw that out and put that with a salad in the evening. But we can make our lifestyle healthy and change things in our whole family. The whole household is going to get healthier.
Yeah, but you've got to know who to trust. And if you think that you're going to get a study from the government that you can trust, you can forget it, or from any other corporation out there. You know who you can trust? You can trust your grandmother, maybe. Maybe your grandmother. You know, you can trust your great grandmother, maybe even a lot more, because that's the way they used to live. But the reality is you cannot trust the majority of the population. You cannot trust, and again, I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the best way, but you can't trust a health practitioner. You cannot trust a health practitioner unless the practitioner is talking about good old health, the old ways, the natural ways, and also somebody that's, of course, I mean, we can buy products and I sell products, but the reality is 90% of my talking is always based on just going directly to the garden, as doing your juicing, doing water fasting, doing all of these things. You've got to understand, when people go rah to products so much in this latest, greatest breakthrough, you better watch out for yourself, because I'm going to tell you something. You need to challenge your own mind and your own beliefs, and you need to challenge the beliefs of every other practitioner out there, because there's not a lot of good ones. And there isn't. And people are going, why is he putting that? Well, maybe I'm not a good one. Challenge me too. The reality is it's your body. And until you start challenging people that you're giving your money to, and people that are actually telling you how to go and look after your body. And if you find that you're going to someone that somebody else went to and they're not getting well, or they're just dishing out tons of money, well, there might be a clue there, eh, Cherie?
Yes, there's a clue. And I'm always suspicious when somebody comes home with a bag of supplements, and they were never told to change their diet. And in my experience, and I do recommend myself too, certain supplements for certain situations and conditions, but your key is what you eat. You were talking about the old timers, and I thought about the natural hygienists, from the 30s and the 40s. We've forgotten all about them, but they were the people that talked about diet, about what you eat and how important it is what you put in your body. And therein is our answer, because we can down a sack load of supplements and nothing ever changes. I remember a few years ago, my husband got Epstein-Barr virus, 2 strains. We don't know how he got them. They were very high, both of them. And his naturopath put him on all of these supplements. And of course, I was still juicing, but it wasn't working. Nothing was changing. And then he went off and did a 3-week juice fast, raw foods diet program with a lot of wheatgrass juice, and came back 3 weeks later, and those 2 extremely high strains of Epstein-Barr virus gone.
Yeah, and guess what? We're right back to terrain is everything. The bug is nothing. The bug is nothing if you bring up your vibration. So if you can bring up your vibration on an emotional and physical and spirit level, then you know what? Nothing can live in you, from constipation to cancer.
There you go. And that's what we're all about today, is getting rid of those conditions, those maladies. We think they're everything. They're like the elephant in our room. We're staring at it. I've got this or I've got that, but you don't have to. You're not stuck. You don't have to have any of those conditions. It's turning, just what you said, Darrell, that terrain around on the inside.
Yeah. And you know what? And our moods are always going to be affected by our foods. Moods and foods, guys. So you know what? Are you gonna opt for 4 inches of pleasure and 30 feet of hell? Or are you actually going to say, okay, today I'm going to make a choice and I'm going to start to come off of drugs. I'm going to start to come off the chemicals and I'm going to go for real flavors that have real health. What do you think, Cherie?
Oh, I love that. I love that. 3 minutes of pleasure for months and months or years of hell. Good grief. Which would you choose? You know, if we had two hands and said these are mystery boxes, you don't know what's inside, but here's what you get. None of us would choose a lifetime of hell, a month of hell. Are you kidding me? But we choose it every day in the stuff we eat. I was out to dinner with some friends not long ago, and uh, she had cured, with the help of an acupuncturist and diet changes, a stroke. Her whole left side had been paralyzed. She had drugged her foot, and now you never know anything even happened to her. And they brought some white bread to the table, and she said, "There is no way I'm eating that. That I see that as plastic." And I said, "I see it as skull and bones." I mean, you got to have some image in your head when you're tempted with some hot white bread and pesto, olive pesto sauce that you know is yummy with garlic in it. I'll have the pesto sauce with the olive and garlic, but not the bread. We've got to have that image in our mind of this 5 minutes of pleasure or 10 or a half hour at dinner of eating this bad stuff and what it's going to do to me 2 or 3 days from now, a month from now, a year from now. It's hell. So yes, we've got to be able to set our minds to say no, that I'm going to say no to these things that aren't good for me, and I'm going to choose life. I'm going to choose that beautiful box of life. It's not a mystery box. We know what's in it. Juices, raw foods, vegetables, ancient grains, clean food, clean protein, lots of water. And I'm going to let go of all the rest of this stuff because it's going to kill me.
Yeah. And just know this, everybody. You know, for the last 100 years, the majority of the population have been killing themselves. And they always will be. So, whatever the majority of the population is doing, I want you to stop it right now. Okay? And you know what? You're never going to turn this around unless you're willing to go in and take a look in your cupboards and take a look in your fridge and make sure before you go out shopping from now on, go and make a big 16-ounce glass of carrot and apple with a little bit of apple in it. And I guarantee you, you will bring home different food than if you go out rushed after work and you didn't get anything to eat, because all you're going to be doing is your mind's going to be going sugar and carb, sugar and carb, sugar and carb. Whereas make sure you always eat well before you go out shopping. So I always really do. I every day, not every day, but I will say almost every day I do 1 quart of carrot juice, and some days I do more. So I just do carrot juice because it's so easy to do. But I definitely do 1 quart a day. I can remember too, Cherie, when I first started doing carrot juice, my skin used to go orange. And I can even do 2 quarts of carrot juice and do it for a few days in a row. And my skin is never orange anymore. And everybody says, "Oh my God, you're drinking too much carrot juice." And then a friend of mine, this was like many years ago when I was back around 25 years old, he said to me, "Well, that's not actually the carrot juice. That's actually your liver detoxing."
It is. And I had the same thing. Well, I used to have orange palms to my hands. And then I did a liver gallbladder flush. And lo and behold, it all went away and it's never come back. And so I can do lots of carrot juice or whatever, and nothing on my palms. No orange anymore. Liver gallbladder flushing is extremely important.
Yeah, and that's why everybody too, take a look at that, but also take a look at the ultimate coffee enema in my perfect day guide, because you know, you really want to do that. You know, nobody thinks about this though, do they? They do think about colon cleansing because they can't poop, and that's really uncomfortable. But nobody thinks about the filter being, I mean, the liver being the filter, and then actually cleansing that filter out. You know, you'll change the filter in a truck once a year, but there's people out there 40 years have been dumping garbage into their body, and they wonder why they have chronic fatigue.
Oh, yes. And I now know exactly why I had chronic fatigue. I was dumping tons of garbage into my body, and my poor body just broke down very early on. But if you have the fatigue going on in your life, and so many people do, you can get rid of it by cleansing and juicing and changing your diet. You'll be a new person.
So, Cherie, can you talk about your books, show your books, and talk about your courses, talk about your website to everybody?
I would love to. You can come visit me at juiceladyinfo.com. And I want to just mention my A to Z guide. It's the Juice Lady's Guide to Juicing for Health. And so many conditions we've talked about here, and the ones we haven't are here. Over 50 different ailments, and the diet, the nutrients, the juices that help that condition, and along with lifestyle and even emotional things. And the other one I wanted to just show you again is the anti-inflammatory diet. So important that we follow a program of anti-inflammatory eating. And I worked with an anti-inflammatory chef. There aren't very many in our country, organic and anti-inflammatory foods. And so we have 28 days of yummy recipes. So come find my programs. I have the Juice Cleanse programs, the Juice Fast program, 30-day detox, sipping skinny, weight loss program. They're all there. And I'll tell you about our retreats there as well. Juiceladyinfo.com.
Thank you, Cherie. Now, Cherie, what would you like to leave with everyone? Your words of juicing wisdom.
You know, a lady said to me a number of years ago, she was getting rid of her MS. And they say that can't be done. But I worked with her, and she was getting well. And she was being very strict. And you have to be very strict to get well. You can't cheat here and there and get well. We're a big test tube, right? Like if you were in organic chemistry, your professor would say, don't get a drop of that wrong chemical in there, or you'll wreck your whole reaction. So we're like a big test tube. We've got to be perfect. But one day a relative came over with a wine and said, you just got to taste this. It's so delicious. And she said, oh, no, no, no. I'm doing so well. I'm getting well. No, no, no. You have to try it. You have to try it. And she gave in. And her symptoms started flaring up. Like the next day, she felt horrible. She said to me, nothing on earth tastes as good as good health. And I have said that ever since. Nothing on earth tastes as good health. Juicing represents good health, and it tastes fabulous. So we've got to make our choices. We've got to choose life. We've got to choose good health with every sip and every bite we take.
Thank you, Cherie. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope everybody just loves her shows. So this is another great show. And understand something. If you say you can't afford a juicer, you can always go on Craigslist, Kijiji, or somewhere, and you'd be surprised at an amazing juicers that you can get secondhand. Get yourself started, right? Right, Cherie?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Start today or tomorrow, whenever you can get that juicer. If you haven't used your juicer, dust it off. Pull it out of the garage, the basement, under the counter. Get it up there where you can see it, remind you to juice. Start juicing. Get your beautiful organic produce, as much organic as you can get, and get on the track of the juicing lifestyle. It pays off. It has huge dividends. If you were guaranteed in the bank the kind of dividends you're guaranteed with juicing, everybody'd be at that bank, right?
Thank you.
Everybody needs to go to this bank. JuiceLadyInfo.com. You got to come see me.
Yes. So everybody, I just want to say this, that everybody measures their life by how much fun they have, how much happiness they have, how much joy they have throughout the day. You may not realize, there was a major study done, and it said that the majority of the population only has joy 2 to 3% of the day. Now, you might think that's ridiculous, but that's how ridiculous we've become. And understand this. You do have the power inside you, because that's the only place it's ever been. If you want to keep on looking outside yourself for a practitioner or a doctor or someone to get you well, it's not going to happen. They may give guidance and support and information. And you know what? Even some support with some great supplementation. But the reality is, it's your body, it's your life, and you have to learn how to master your mind first and foremost, because where the mind goes, the body follows. And you're going to know how much you're in charge. Go home, take your clothes off, look in the mirror, and then see what kind of shape it's in, because that really does matter. And the other thing is, ask yourself, how much joy did I experience today? How much joy do I experience every day? How much energy do I have? When I get home, do I feel like playing with the children? Do I give my wife a big hug and tell her how much I love her? Or do I just tell her about how bad my day went? Okay, so really start taking a look at yourself. Put a little mini you on top of your shoulder here and ask yourself whether or not you need to look into Cherie's books, her information. Ask yourself if you think that maybe you could do a little bit better or a lot better. Okay, again, I want to thank Cherie for coming on the show. Cherie Calbom, she's known as the Juice Lady, and I love her. We lecture a lot together throughout the globe. We kind of bang into each other a little bit. So anyways, thank you again, Cherie. And
Thank you.
everybody, just know this, that every Monday and Friday, I have what's called Doc Talk Q&A. I will answer your questions truthfully and with honor, with respect. And I'm here to help to teach you to protect yourself. You actually need to protect yourself from your family. You need to protect yourself from society systems, because they're really starting to suck. And I mean that in the best way, but they are. Take a look. When we're talking about 92% has an autoimmune disease, we know that the human race is collapsing, and there's no need for that. So please join me on my Q&As. They'll be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can send your questions in beforehand, or you can call your questions in, or you can live, bring them in live, and I'll be doing it every Monday and Friday, 3 p.m. Any questions under the sun. And if I can't answer them, I'll find somebody that can. And also take a look on my website and go to the top at itioh.com or docofdetox.com. Click on Masterclass. Put in the code MASTER. All right. Fill out the information. You'll never be charged, and you'll be in there for life. This is my masterclass. If you want to learn about the whole human body and why you don't get well, because your body overcompensates because it loves you. And most practitioners, whether natural health or medical, don't know this. So now you're left with what? War wounds. Now you're left with going to getting more treatments and treatments. If you want to know how to take your completely take your body back, go there. And once you join, you're a member for life. My next master class will be I Am Woman. It'll be the most powerful master class for women that's ever been done. And well, let's just see if I can pull that off, eh? Thank you for joining me, and God bless. Have the best day of your life, and just know, 3, 2, 1, you got this. If you're looking for life-saving and life-changing information, well, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to click and subscribe. Stay connected.